Here we go. The final market day in the month of July. Welcome everyone to Frontier Opening Bell. I am boasting number 5, and this is how we're getting started. Got a bit of a mixed Monday across the Frontier African markets. Nigeria was down 0.1%, just thereabout. The BRVM shared 15 basis points. The Egyptian stock market, EGX30, fell below the 29,000 level by 0.64%. The South African market was down by 13 basis points. The Nairobi stock market managed 0.38%. The Ghana stock market fell yesterday 0.07%. Zimbabwe's stock exchange made a 0.85% gain away from the rest of other exchanges on the continent on that side. Then you've got the Botswana stock market rallied strongly, roughly 2%. We've got a Blue Life, Lotto Tech, and a few other big names made good gains on Monday. So it's a little bit mixed, as it were, but some of those regional market bosses were in the red. Let's just move it on and check through what's making the headlines as far as the news is concerned. Ethiopia, of course, we've heard, has floated the country's currency. But again, investors are seeing higher risk in neighboring Kenya amidst the anti-government protest. It looks like the President Ruto's 2024 finance bill is now shredded and flushed down the toilet, as it were. So we've got to come up with a new one. So it's a tough time right now for the administration in Nairobi, trying to walk its way back from those deadly protests against the Finance Act and what it contains. The president's putting a new team together. In the meantime, Kenya's Competition Authority has approved indirect control of a base titanium by EFR Australia Limited in East African country, while Uganda's Minister of Energy has met with a new head of the EPRA, that's the agency responsible for energy regulatory activities in Uganda. Gustavo Bwach is now been welcomed and is given the task to ensure that there is proper handling of issues relating to food prices and energy pricing, all of that in President Museveni's economy. And finally, Awash Bank of Ethiopia has reported for last year 11.16 billion birr in terms of a profit. For the full year, deposit was about 232 billion birr for the period under a review. For last year, the company also reported interest income, a very decent one. Okay, let's get on. We're going to see more earnings in the week that's finishing Wednesday. Then, of course, tomorrow, and you get into August, you got a whole flurry of second quarter and first half of the year earnings coming through across Frontier Africa. Nigeria, stepping to West Africa, is now allowing the sale of crude oil in Naira to all the refineries locally, and that includes Dangote Refinery, an African bank, and a few other banks have been selected to pilot this new direction as settlement banks. In the meantime, Dangote and others will also get those crude oil in Naira. This looks like it's going to put to bed the tit-for-tat, face-off, wrangling, spat, whatever you want to call it, adjectives you want to use to describe the recent comments from Aliko Dangote and his organization, refinery, as well as government agencies in the oil and gas sector. A bloody eye there for Nigeria, as it were, when it comes to international investors looking at the wrangling over the $20 billion petrochemical refinery of Dangote. Now, let's move on. Nigeria's oil sector will need to change in order to attract investors. And that's the warning from NG Ayuk, the executive chairman of the advocacy group, African Energy Chamber, based in Johannesburg. He wrote over the weekend, which is widely in the media and everywhere, that Nigeria needs to get its acts together in order to attract investments, because investors are moving elsewhere. They're going to other countries in Africa that are also emerging. Nigeria being the giant of the continent in terms of size, population, should put its house in order. And a bittersweet first half earnings and second quarter numbers are coming through. We've got Dangote Cement was buffeted by costs of energy, production costs, and all of that in the first half of the year. Managed to do about 190 billion naira in net profit. Cadbury was knocked by a finance cost, including foreign exchange. You've got Transcorp Hotels came live in a shiny armor, reporting 844% jump in revenue for the second quarter. Very big numbers out of that company. Guinness Nigeria came in with a brutal full year ended June. We've got Transcorp Group where earnings also on the street. Is all coming. International breweries also reporting. Is all reflection of the state of Nigeria's crunching economy right now. You need to read to the numbers. In the meantime, in West Africa, Liberia, a renowned scholar, Dr. Robtel Pailey, has asked the administration in Monrovia to speed up the space of economic reforms in the West African country. Says this is very urgent. You have been briefed. Let's go to Southern Africa and grab a few headlines for you as we step towards the final 24 hours of 48 hours of July. Sadiq, this is the Southern African Development Community International Industrial Investment Conference is now entering its third day. And very robust presentations being done there where it's being held. Mozambique has won this very naughty and scandalous case, $2 billion tuna bond, if you put it that way, that got Credit Suisse embroiled in it and claimed and got one former minister of Mozambique also standing trial for that. The case being decided in favor of Mozambique, by the way. PepsiCo in South Africa is looking to sell its Marmite and Bovril businesses to Anchor Yeast, while Zimbabwe's total debt was about $20.5 billion, as the government is now looking to make new loans locally and put the local money where it deserves it in the economy and try to reduce the country's dependence on foreign currency loans. Those are your headlines, part of the new direction of what the finance minister Dube is presented last week to the parliament. Okay, let's finish off in North Africa and just get a few around Morocco and Egypt's Beltone Mortgage as debut on the market with 22.25% market share. Is the country's leader when it comes to fast and easy home financing. You want to check that out. Morocco has launched a construction of $140 million viaduct in Laayoune, as part of the country's cities, as it were. And Islamic financing in Morocco is now about $2.4 billion. That was at the end of last year. We'll see what the new figure is for this year. That's driven by real estate. We're waiting to see what the first quarter and the first half of this year numbers will look like. And finally, the IFC, that's the private sector lending arm of the World Bank, Propaco, and Helios, are planning to support Africa's sports and entertainment industry. You want to look up how Africa is doing at the ongoing Paris Olympics 2024. You want to check that out, the table of the medals. Of course, maybe tomorrow we're going to talk about the costs of doing business of the Olympics. Those are your headlines this Tuesday. Wednesday is when we wrap up July and we're done with the first month in the third quarter. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you soon.